Hello BookTube. For this Tag Tuesday, I'm going to be doing a more current book tag. This is the DNF tag. It was created by Gunpowder Fiction and Plot, and I saw a version of this tag this morning from Brian of Bookish, and I think I saw this tag done last week by Doris of All the Books, and I'll leave a link to the original tag down below. So prompt number 1, do you DNF? Yes, I do. I try not to. I'm not particularly fond of DNFing or bailing. I think I use bailing because it sounds better. It rolls off the tongue. But I do. It's usually if a book is displeasing me or if I'm putting too much pressure on myself. I have too many books I want to read, or I'm piling up my TBR, or the book's just not pleasing me. I will bail. Question number 2. If you DNF a book, does it count towards books read for the month? No. I usually will, when I log the books I'm reading or I've read, I used to note in a parenthesis that I bailed on the book. This year I've started a separate bailing list, which I think it's about 15 books I think I've bailed on this year. I don't have that list up, so I can't really tell you, but it's in the low teens, I think, or mid-teens. Number 3. Is there a difference between DNF and just putting it down for a bit? I don't put down books. If there's a book I'm reading and I'm continuing on to read, I'll continue finishing it. I don't put it down and move on to something else and then a week or a month later come back to it. No, it's pretty much, I consider that a bail. There are some instances where I'm reading a book, I'm enjoying it, but something happens and the momentum's lost, and I might take months or years to come back to it. And in that situation, I'll start over from the beginning. So it counts for me as a DNF or bail, rather than just setting it aside for the moment. Number 4. What popular book have you DNF'd? I'm going to show you 2. I have bailed on Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Yeah, this is the Sorcerer's Stone. I've read the first chapter up until the Dursleys. Vernon leaves for work, I think, and Rowling's description of Vernon just put me off. Or it might have been a little bit later than that, but I did not get on with this book at all, and I've tried Goblet of Fire too, and just no. Although to a certain extent, as a reader of fantasy, I probably really should try to power through it. Another popular book I have bailed on, which should come as no surprise because I pretty much announced my bailing on here, and that is Brandon Sanderson's The Way of Kings. I just do not get on with this book at all. I made it about maybe 100 pages in before I'm like, do I really want to read another 900 pages? No. So, I might give The Way of Kings another go at some point, maybe. I don't know. Number 5. What book do you wish you had DNF'd? I have quite a few. I will echo Brian of Bookish's statement that I agree. I wish I had bailed on Lord Fell's Bane. This book is just atrocious. yeah, just absolutely atrocious. Yeah. Although that said, I did bail on the Ilearth War, so. But yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to give the Chronicles of Thomas Covenant a reread ever again. Another book I wish I had bailed on is probably the worst science fiction novel I've ever read. Dryland's Inn by Felice Picano. It is just so bad. I mean, it's so bad. It's basically in this universe. There's sort of this universal matriarchy that encompasses Earth and its colonies and 2 or 3 other civilizations. They're at war with a machine rebellion who have unleashed a plague that renders women infertile. Basically going at the heart of the matriarchy and all of that. So a group of rogues are sent to this isolated planet to try to find somebody who knows something of what's going on and how to fix it. And it turns out that basically it's giving men wombs so they can have kids. It's horrible. Yeah. I mean, I might give it another go. It's been 14 years since I've read it. It's just like, yeah. So, definitely it would be Dryland in this book. I wish I had DNF'd. Number 6. Do you ever reattempt to read a DNF? Has this ever been successful for you? Yes. I most recently read a DNF or a book that I've DNF'd earlier, and have come back and really loved it, and that's These Truths by Joe Lepore. I checked this book out from the library shortly after it came out, and I don't know, I didn't quite get on with it at the time. I might go back through my list and see what exactly I had to say about it at the time, but reading it a few weeks ago, I absolutely loved it. I have no idea what I was thinking when I bailed, because this book is phenomenal. So definitely this is a successful reread. Another example of a book that I've bailed on that I subsequently came back to and loved is a China Mieville's Scar. On here, I got to, I think within the first chapter or two, and I bailed, and then I came back to it and absolutely loved it. So a few other books I've tried to I've DNF'd and haven't quite worked is My Son's Story by Nadine Gordimer. I read it, or tried to read it, about 3 years ago, and I didn't quite get on with it, and I bailed, and I came back to it this year, and I didn't quite get on with it. Also, Nadine Gordimer's Burger's Daughter had a similar issue. I bailed, and then I came back, and I still am not quite fond of it. And also Cat's Eye by Margaret Atwood. I have tried to read that book 3 times, and yeah, it's still not working for me. Although something tells me I might give it another go at some point. And a book that I probably will give another reread to, even though I bailed on it relatively recently, is Blue Angel by Francine Prose. Reorganizing those books real quick. Number 7. What do you do with books you DNF? I keep them. I mean, sometimes I will donate them to the Friends at the Library book sale or trade them into Golden's or some other used bookstore for store credit. But I also find myself really regretting having gotten rid of those books. I mean, if you've seen some of my videos, particularly my retro book tour or library tour, a lot of the books that I've gotten rid of from that list, I would really like to get back. So and at the moment, I really can, I mean, I have the space to be able to keep all of the books or reacquire them to a certain extent, but I'm conflicted about purging my collection because it at the time feels good to get rid of books I don't want, that are just taking up space, that I'm probably never going to read again. But at the same time, there will come a time when I'm like, why did I get rid of that book? I'd like to have another go at it, or something like that. So, for the moment, I'm going to be keeping them, even Dryland's End. Number 8. Do you choose more or less risky titles because of your stance on DNF? Honestly, no, I don't think so. I think even though I do bail a lot, or maybe not a whole lot, but I'm still, I think, relatively taking chances on books. If there's any hesitation about adding a risky book, whatever that means, to my collection, it's usually I will sort of procrastinate in actually getting around to reading it. But otherwise, I don't think it really affects whether I go for more, what's the term, less risky titles, particularly because my tastes are weird and mercurial, and there's every possibility that I might love a book by one author, or maybe several, but then a book that just came out, a different series, different setting, something, and I hate it. Or even books that I don't think I would like, Alice McDermott's Charming Billy, for example, or T.C. Boyle's The Harder They Come, because I've had issues with T.C. Boyle's work. I think I would not like and I love them. So I think I'd still pick what would be riskier titles. Ooh, sorry. I'm starting to have trouble speaking. Riskier titles for me to read, if that makes any sense at all. Number 9. Tag 5 BookTube buddies, or however many people you want. So if you would like to do this tag, consider yourselves tagged. And I will see you hopefully tomorrow with another video. Thank you, BookTube. Have a great afternoon, and please stay safe.